Hare Krishna. I welcome you all to this session of Bhagavad Gita. And we are on chapter 5. As we all know, the objective of this session is to enable reading of the shlok, to understand the meaning of the shlok, and to help understand the basic philosophy of Gita. We are in chapter 5, Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. What we have done till now is we have covered, we are on the 5th section. We have covered 4 sections. Arjun's question, sannyas or karma yoga. Karma yoga is equal to but easier than sannyas. Characteristics of yoga yukt, knowledge of the 3 doers, and we started liberation by focusing on the supreme. So this is what we are working on, and we are on chapter 5, and we'll also cover the glories of chapter 5 from Padma Puran, right? So what we have covered till now is, just a summary of what we have done till now. So Arjun asked Krishna, the first shlok of chapter 5, that is, what is right, sannyas or nishkam karma yoga? And then Krishna says that nishkam karma yoga and sannyas both are same, but Arjun, working is better because premature renunciation is distressful. He says to Arjun that for you, it is nishkam karma yoga, which is more applicable than sannyas. Yeah. Then we talked about the characteristics of yoga yukt. We talked about how a person who is yukt with Krishna, how he is never entangled, self-controlled, who is doer yet not doer. He works for the supreme with detachment, seeking purification, and finally he attains unprecedented peace. That's what we learned in this particular topic. And then we talked about the knowledge of 3 doers. Who are the 3 doers? The soul, the material nature, and the Lord. So we learned that anything that happens is because of the 3 doers, and the main doer is the soul. Why? Because soul's desire. And when soul's desire, the super soul, the Lord sitting in the heart as super soul, it approves. And when it approves, then the material nature, which is Durga Devi, she the modes of material nature, they actually ensure that the whole thing can happen and can get realized. Yeah. And then we are on symptoms of self-realized person, which is focusing on the supreme. We are now talking about what are the qualifications, or how a liberated person is. Yeah, that's what we are continuing this particular topic also, in this particular session also. So 523 onwards we'll start. So we are on 9 now, shlok number 23rd. शक्नोति हैव यः सोढुम् पाक शरीर विमोक्षणात् काम क्रोधोद्भवं वेगम् स युक्त स सुखी नरः शक्नोति हैव यः सोढुम् पाक शरीर विमोक्षणात् काम क्रोधोद्भवं वेगम् स युक्त स सुखी नरः. माताजी. शक्नोति हैव यः सोढुम् प्राक्शरीर विमोक्षणात् काम क्रोधोद्भवं वेगम् स युक्त स सुखी नरः. So here Krishna says, Shaknoti hevaya ya sodum. Sodum is tolerate. What if someone can tolerate what? Shaknoti, if possible, if someone can tolerate what? Pak sharir vimokshanat. Before sharir vimokshan, before leaving this body. Sharir vimokshanat, sharir is the body, vimokshanat is leaving. Before leaving this body, if someone can sodum, tolerate. What can tolerate? Shaknoti heva ya sodum, right? Kam krodhod bhavam vegam. What veg? What are the forces? Calm and krodh. If someone can tolerate calm and krodh before leaving this body, sa yukta sa sukhinara. He is yukt, he is already attached to the supreme, and he is also happy. That person is also happy. That's what it says. So let's now read the English meaning. before giving up this present body,
if one is able to tolerate
the urges of the material senses
the urges of the material senses
and check the force of desire
and check the force of desire
and anger,
and anger,
he is well situated
he is well situated
and is happy in this world.
and is happy in this world.
Yeah. So Krishna says that if anyone is able to control the Veg, the forces, Veg is forces of Kam and Krodh, and before leaving this body, in this body itself, then what happens? That is also already achieved supreme mode. He is the happy person, Nara, right? Now, our Acharya, Rup Goswami, who is a very senior Acharya in ISKCON, so he explained, he's basically the disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He explained that there are 6 types of Veg. There are 6 types of Veg. And what are these Veg? They are Vacho Vegam. Vacho is speech. Vacho is speech. The desire to speak. Yeah. The control of speaking. I want to speak. Mind. Then Manasa Vegam. What? That is the mind. Mind. The mind is another one. Krodha Vegam. Krodha is anger. Jivva. Jivva is tongue Vegam. Jivva Vegam. Udro Parastham Vegam. Udar is belly. And Parastham is genitals. These are the 6 Veg that we have. And anyone who can control these Veg is a Dheer Purush. He is a Dheer person. So what is Vajo Vegam? If you see, we all just want to speak. We just want to speak. We don't want to listen. We want to speak. Any opportunity, we want to keep on speaking. And whatever we are speaking, it will actually, if we are not speaking about Krishna or for Krishna or something, then actually we are also getting the reactions of it because of whatever we are speaking, right? Yeah, then what happens is mind. As we explained in the last class, mind is just like a child. What happens? It wants everything. All the senses, all our 6 senses, like our eyes, our ears, they are the input. They take the inputs, and finally that input goes into the mind. It gets controlled by, it takes the input, and mind either accepts it or rejects it. For example, when we see a rasgulla. Now eyes has seen the rasgulla and the heart says, yeah, man says, yeah, very nice, let's eat it. But when you see karela, mind says, no, it is not good, don't eat it, right? Similarly, so it's bitter, don't take it. So the man accepts the desire. So basically man is the main control of all our inputs which is coming from different senses. It takes a decision, and all the desires are coming from the mind. Mind is just like monkey. It's just like monkey. Yeah. And it is always running here and there, wants this, wants that. And what happens because of which we are not able to control. So Rupa Goswami says, when you control the mind, someone who has controlled the mind, yeah, and then how do you control your mind? It means if you can concentrate on Krishna or your scriptures or something, then what happens? You are able to control your mind, do chanting, listen to Krishna's katha, and don't use your something which is right. Don't use your desires in the wrong directions, right? Then anger. So what happens is, again, the force of anger. Every time anything happens, small instigation, we are angry. We want to show our anger. And that what happens if someone can control anger. Now, when you're doing anger for something which is divine, it is good. For example, Hanuman. He actually got angry when he went to Lanka. He burnt Lanka out of anger. So those are divine. That is good. But then anger as such is, if you have anger, you cannot grow spiritually. So you have to control your anger. That is one of the major Veg that has to be controlled. Unless that is controlled, you cannot grow spiritually. Yeah. Then tongue. Tongue is eating. Eating. Speech is speaking. Tongue is eating. Anytime we see tasty food, whether we are hungry or not, we want to eat it. I may be ill. I should not be eating it, but I see something nice. I want to eat it. Right? That's how our tongue is. Belly. Belly is whether we are, if something is very tasty, I don't mind. Even if my belly is full, I want to take more. I want to take more. And similarly, genitals. Genitals is, it has to be controlled only. Yeah. So these are the things Krishna, Rupa Goswami says, that if we can control these 6 Veg, then what happens? Then that person is a dheer purush, is a dheer purush. And as Krishna is saying that kama krodho bhama begam sa yukta sa sukhinara. Someone who can control that, he is actually well situated and is happy in this world, right? You go to the next slok. Yo antah sukhoantar. Yo antah sukhorantaramas. तथांतर ज्योतिरेव स य स योगी ब्रह्म निर्वाणम ब्रह्म भूतो अधिगच्छति यो अंतः सुखोर अंतरामस तथांत ज्योतिरेव यः सहयोगी ब्रह्म निर्वाणम ब्रह्म भूतोऽधिगच्छति माताजी यो अंतः सुखोरंतरामस तथांतर ज्योतिरेव यः
योगी ब्रह्म निर्वाणम
योगी ब्रह्म निर्वाणम
ब्रह्म भूतो
ब्रह्म भूतोऽधिगच्छति. So Krishna says, yo anta sukhon antaramas. So yo is anyone who is sukho. Sukho is happy. Happy where? Within. Someone who is happy within, and who is antaramas, who is also enjoying within. Tathar ant jyotir, and someone who is enlightened within. Yah sah yogi, that yogi has Brahma Nirvanam, has achieved Brahma Nirvan, Brahma Bhuta Digachati, and he is actually Brahma Bhuta Digachati, he finally attains supreme. So let's read the meaning of it. One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the supreme, and ultimately he attains the supreme. So here Krishna says that if our senses are let loose, and it is getting attracted to all the external objects, what will happen? It will be, as we talked about the last slok, it is getting so many inputs, it is getting so many disturbed, the mind is not controlled, and when the mind is not controlled, we cannot get happiness. So the person who is happy within, who is the person happy within, who has actually controlled the senses, he is actually looking inside. His view is not external, he's not actually engaged externally. He can sit silently on his own and still enjoy the peace within. Yeah. And when you are in that stage, it is called Brahma Bhuta stage. It's called when you can reach that stage, when you don't need anything external to enjoy. You don't need any external, you don't have any requirement for enjoying from an external object. What is there? The enjoyment is within. You are happy, you're internally happy, everything is within. You don't have to really depend upon something which is outside. So if you are in that stage, it means you are sitting silently, and even when you are sitting silently, you can be happy and you are not looking out for anything else. That state, if you can reach, it is called Brahma Bhuta state. It's called Brahma Bhuta state. And in that you can reach the Brahma Bhuta state, that you can ultimately, he attains the supreme. He is liberated and is in the, got it? Now we go to the next slok. Labhante Brahma Nirmanam Rishya Kshina Kalmashaha Chinnadvaidya Yatatmanah Sarvabhuta Hite Ratah Labhante Brahma Nirvanam Rishya Kshina Kalmasha Chinnadveda Yatatmanah Sarva bhuta hite rataha.
Sarvabhuta hite rataha.
Vaishnavi.
लभन्ते ब्रह्म निर्वाणम्
Labhante brahma nirvanam.
ऋषय क्षीणकल्मषा
Rishya kshina kalmasha.
छिन्नद्वैधात्मानः
Chinnadvaidhaya tatmanah.
सर्वभूतहिते रताः
Sarva bhuto hite rataha. So labhante means you gets, someone who gets. What will he get? Brahma nirvanam. Rishya, that Rishi will get the Brahma Nirvan. He'll get the supreme. Kshina Kalmasha. When his kalmash is his sins, his impurities has been ksheen, it has been finished or reduced. Chinnadvaidya yatatmana. Chinnadvaidya is his Dvaida is duvidha, dualities. He is cut off all the dualities. It means he is out of, we read that, when we attach to this material body, then we are actually experience the dualities. Till we are attached to this material body, we experience the dualities. So chinna dvaida, it means he has cut off the dualities. Yatatmana is he is self-realized, self-situated. Sarvabhuta hite rata. And he is actually engaged in the Sarvabhuta is everyone. Rata is engaged. He's engaged in the welfare activity of all. And for that person, what happens? Labhate Brahma Nirvanam. He'll actually receive the Brahma Nirvan. He'll get liberation. So let us read the English meaning. Those who are beyond the dualities, that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. So here Krishna says that Labhante gets what he gets. Brahma Nirvan. He gets the Supreme. He gets the Brahma Nirvan. That Rishi. Who is a Rishi? A Rishi is not a person who with matted lock, who has and he has gone to Himalayas. That is not a Rishi. A Rishi, even in a Grihastha ashram, if someone who's from within, his mind is attached to Supreme. Yeah, his mind is attached to Supreme. He's a Rishi. He or she is a Rishi. One who is attached to Supreme from within is a Rishi. Yeah, and then that person will get Brahma Nirvana. He'll get the Brahma. He'll get the Supreme. How? If he has 4 qualities, what? Kshina Kalmsha. His what is there? His Kalmsha has been basically his Kalmsha has been reduced, or he's pure. Yeah, his all sins have been. He's free from sins, right? Chinna Dvaida. Dvaida is dualities. He's already out of dualities. It means he's situated. He knows he's very much situated in soul, in the super soul. Basically, he's soul conscious. He has very clearly understood that yatatmana, and he is self-realized, and sarvabhuta hite rata. He is actually engaged in the welfare of activities of everyone. Now, such people will get the Supreme. Now, sarvabhuta hite rata is a very, very important point here. Sarvabhuta hite rata, who is actually engaged in the welfare of everyone, right? Now, when we think about the welfare of others, in general, we think about what is welfare of others? Go and help poor, give donations to, give food to poor, or go and build hospital, go and build dharamshala. And, where we think that all these activities are actually a welfare activity. Yes, it is a welfare activity, but these activities are considered in the mode of goodness. And any activity that is done in the mode of goodness, it doesn't help. It is the mode of goodness. So you are still getting the pious points, because of which you have to take rebirth to enjoy that pious work that you have done. So it does not help you to come out of this cycle of birth and death. Understood? It is just like a person. Prabhupada always gives this example. It is like, a person who is drowning, and someone who was standing at the side goes and takes out the cloth of that person and say, I've saved the man, I've saved the man, I've saved the man. What he has done, he has just saved the clothes of the person has already drowned, right? It is equivalent to that, because this material body is nothing but it is a cloth. It's the cloth of the soul. It's the cloth of the soul. So if you are actually doing some welfare activity which is at a bodily level, which is going to help the body of the person but not the soul, then what happens? It is just like saving the dress of a drowning person. It is just like saving the dress of a drowning person, because you have not helped the person to come out of this cycle of birth and death. Yeah. So the such welfare activities will give you some pious points, will probably take you to heaven, but you will again come down to earth, because you are still bound in the cycle of birth and death. Right. So what is the right welfare activity, so that you actually transcend transcend this cycle of birth and death? What is the right activity? Anything. And when you give the soul, the food for the soul, we know that's what is soul. Soul is a part and parcel of Krishna. We know that soul is what? It's a part and parcel of Krishna. And if we can make a soul Krishna consciousness, if we can teach and help guide the soul to get attached to Krishna, then actually we are doing an activity which will help the soul to transcend the cycle of birth and death. Understood? So when we say Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata, so it depends upon, we have to be very clear about the welfare activity that we are doing, because what activity we are doing at what level, when we don't have that understanding, we think, okay, we go and give money and, some poor people are, not that you don't do it, it is good. But even when you are doing a donation, just say, Om Tat Sat, not for me, so that you don't get the pious points back to you. Give it in the name of Krishna, to Krishna, whatever, so that you are not getting that pious points back, so that you are getting, then you don't get into the cycle of birth and death, right? Understood? So this is what here is the thing. So Krishna says that if these four qualities, so anyone who it will get, these four qualities are important to get Brahma Nirvana, right? We go to the next slok. Slok number 26. Kama Krodho Vimuktanam Yatina Yat Chetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam Kama Krodha Vimuktanam Yatinam Yat Chetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam Kama Krodho Vimuktanam Yatinam Yat Chetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. So here Krishna says, Kama Krodho Vimuktanam, someone who is vimukt, is free from Kam and Krodh and anger, Kam and Krodh. Yatina, Yati is a sage. Yati means a rishi, those sannyasi. Yat Chetasam, they are, Yat Chetasam means they are Chetas consciousness. They are self-controlled. Abhito means very soon. Abhito means without delay, very soon. Brahma Nirvanam, they will achieve the Brahma. Vartate Viditatmana. And they are assured of liberation. So let us read the meaning of it. Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in very near future. Right? So very, very important quality to get liberated is you have to be removed, you have to be free from Kam and Krodh. Krodh is something which really pulls you down. Unless you can control that your chances of liberation is very, very low. You cannot get liberated. So first thing is your Krodh has to be under control. And calm. Calm is what is how calm is defined.
Desire for things, no?
Yeah. So calm is not only, desire. Yeah. Calm is any desire which is away from a desire for work for Krishna. Any desire which is not any desire which is not related to Krishna is calm. So any material desire. If any desire is related to Krishna, then it is not calm, because then it becomes transcendental desire. Got it? So that is what is calm and Krodh, right? So he says those Chetinai, those sannyasis, those rishis who are free from this, and very soon they will get liberation. Yeah. So I've earlier also told story about Amrish Maharaj, but let me let me retell about that story of Amrish Maharaj. So we know that Amrish Maharaj, he was a great devotee and he was the king of the entire earth. He was very opulent because he was the king of the entire earth, but he knew that if he has so much wealth, and if he gets attached to that wealth, what will happen? He will actually fall down. So although he had everything, but very consciously he used the wealth for for devotional service. He used to perform lots of seva for Krishna, and he used to do it very opulently. He used to use this wealth in the right way. And this is called Yukt Vairag. Yukt Vairag means not that I don't need money, I should have money, I will earn money, I will get money, but I will use that money for the good, for Krishna's service. Yeah. And that was his mentality. So once Amrish Maharaj, and he was a great devotee, it's said that he was such a great devotee that his mouth was always talking about Krishna. When he moved from the house, his legs were always going to the places of Tirth. His hands was always busy in doing some service for Krishna. So he was always Rat in Krishna. That is how he was. And what happened, that he was in Vrindavan, and he was actually observing the fast of Ekadashi, and it was Dwadashi when it was time for breaking the fast. So he had many Brahmins were there, and he was actually feeding. He was actually feeding those Brahmins, because there's a band in which the fast has to be broken. And now, when almost Dwadashi was going to end, before Dwadashi end, the fast must be broken. Now it was almost time for Dwadashi to break. In the meantime, Durvasa Muni came. And Durvasa Muni came, and we all know that Durvasa Muni is very, very famous for his anger. He is very, very famous for his anger. So Durvasa Muni came, and Amrish Maharaj invited, he invited him inside, and he offered him to take prasadam. But he said, no, I have not taken bath. Let me go and take a dip in Yamuna. I'll come back, and then we can have prasadam. He said, fine. Now, Durvasa Muni went to take dip in Yamuna, and now here the time is the Dwadashi time is about to be over. Now, Amrish Maharaj is waiting, and finally, before Dwadashi gets over, he has to break his fast. So he calls the Brahmins and asks, what should I do? They said, okay, just take a drop of water. You have broken the fast and you have not broken the fast. Because if you have a Brahmin, you cannot eat before giving the guest. So he's waiting, and finally he just took a drop of water, and his fast was broken or also not broken. In the meantime, Durvasa Muni came to know that, Amrish Maharaj has actually broken the fast. And he came and he got very, very angry, and he said, you have done a very great dishonor to me. What you have done? You have actually eaten before me. Amrish Maharaj said, see, I have just taken a drop of water, but Durvasa Muni was extremely angry and said, now you have to bear the punishment of it. You have done this such a grave sin. And then he took, some hair from his head, and from that he created a demon and asked him to, kill Amrish Maharaj. Now, Amrish Maharaj, being a great devotee, he was neither angry and neither, he was just sitting and just started remembering Krishna. And here what happened? Krishna was watching all these things. As soon as this demon came, what do you call it? Sudarshan Chakra of Krishna, it came and killed the demon. And after killing the demon, that chakra started towards Durvasa Muni. And when Durvasa Muni saw that the chakra is coming towards him, he started running. And he started running, and wherever he is going, the chakra is up behind him. He kept on running. He went to Brahma Lok, and Brahma says, I can't do anything. You have to go to, it's beyond me. And then he ran to Shivlok. Please save me. Something. He says, I can't do anything. You please go back to Krishna. Now he came to Vishnu that please save me. He says, see, you have, I cannot do anything. You have actually insulted my devotee, and I am, they are, when there's a great devotee, then I serve them. So I cannot, if, because you have insulted him, the only person who can actually save you is him. So you please go and ask for forgiveness from him. And then Durvasa Muni came running back to Amrish Maharaj. And by then almost 1 year had passed. And he came to the Amrish Maharaj and he asked for forgiveness, and Amrish Maharaj forgave him. So that is how a devotee is. He is Kama Krodha Vimuktana. And that's why they can very easily achieve liberation and they can achieve supreme, right? Now Krishna says that, how if someone, the devotees, how I take care of the devotee, how they achieve me is, he gives an example of, in one, the shlok, I have not written the shlok, he gives a shlok as how a fish takes care of his eggs. Do you know? Just by seeing, after laying the eggs, the fish by seeing actually takes care of the babies. Similarly, a tortoise, what does a tortoise do? Tortoise actually lays the egg on land, goes back in water, and through meditation, it actually takes care of the babies. A bird, the bird sits on the egg and takes care of the babies. And similarly, the devotees of the Krishna, those they actually keeps on thinking constantly about Krishna, and they achieve him. Yeah. And then they are such devotees, they are actually free from all miseries, and they are in the stage of Brahma Nirvana. Okay, so we go to the next slok. Sparshan Kritva Bahir Brahmyas Chakshu Chevantare Bruho Pranapano Samo Kritva Nasabhyantar Charirao Sparshan Kritva Bahir Bhayams Chakshur Chevantare Bruho Pranapano Samo Kritva Nasabhyantar Charinao Yatendriya Manobuddhir Munir Moksha Parayanaha Vigatechhabhaya Krodho Ya Sada Mukta Evasa Yatendriya Manobuddhir Munir Moksha Parayanaha Vigatechhabhaya Krodho Ya Sada Mukta Evasa Vaishnavi.
Parshan Kritva Bahir Brahyam
Parsan Kritva Bahir Bhavyams
Chaivantare Bhuvo
Chakshu Chevantare Bhuvo Pranapanav Samo Kritva Nasabhyantar Charinao Yatendriya Manobuddhir Munir Moksha Parayanaha Vigatechhabhaya Krodho Ya Sada Mukta Evasa. So here Krishna says about, this is the shlok which actually connects us to the next chapter, which is about Dhyan Yoga. So let's read the meaning of it. Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils,
suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils,
and thus controlling the mind,
and thus controlling the mind,
senses and intelligence.
senses and intelligence,
The transcendentalist,
the transcendentalist,
aiming at liberation,
aiming at liberation,
becomes free from desire, fear, and anger.
becomes free from desire, fear, and anger.
One who is always in this state
One who is always in the state
is certainly liberated.
is certainly.
So here a position has been described, and it is about the people who follow Ashtanga Yoga Marg. What do? They follow the eightfold niyams, which is yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. These are the eightfold process which is followed by a Ashtanga yogi. And what they do is they actually shut themselves from the external sense objects. How do they shut that? They sit in the pose of meditation with their eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending, and then via the air that they are breathing in and breathing out, they are within the nostrils, and this is how they try to control their mind, senses, and intelligence. So they try to control the mind, which is man, senses, all our indriyas, and the buddhi. And such transistently they aim for liberation, and by doing that they also become free from desire, fear, and anger. And if someone can be in that state always, then that person will become liberated. Yeah, which is an extremely difficult thing to do. So Krishna, next chapter, the 6th chapter, talks about Dhyan Yoga. Dhyan Yoga is actually Ashtanga Yoga. You are finishing Karma Yoga, the last chapter of Karma Yoga. We'll move to Dhyan Yoga now. And in Dhyan Yoga, you meditate and you follow yam, niyam, all these eightfold mystics, and finally you achieve samadhi, and that is what the whole process is, right? So here there's nothing much to explain. It talks about the state, how you can get liberated. We go to the next slok. भोक्तारं यज्ञ तपसां
Bhoktaram yajna
सर्वलोक महेश्वरं
sarvalokamaheshwaram
सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां
suhridam sarvabhutanam
ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति. भोक्तारं यज्ञ तपसां
Bhoktaram yajna tapasam
सर्वलोक महेश्वरं
sarvalokamaheshwaram
सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां
suhridam sarvabhutanam
ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति.
yatva mam shantam gacchati.
माताजी,
Bhoktaram yajna tapasam
भोक्तारं यज्ञ तपसां
sarvalokamaheshwaram
सर्वलोक महेश्वरं
suhridam sarvabhutanam
सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां
natva mam shantam gacchati.
ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति. So here Krishna says, he gives few qualities. How this particular shlok is the last shlok of 5th chapter, and this is called peace formula. This shlok is called peace formula. How we can achieve peace in the entire world. And he talks about 3 things. He says, Bhoktaram Yagatapsam. We are knowing that Bhoktaram, he is the beneficiary of all the yagya and tap. Whatever yagya we perform, whatever tap austerities we do, who is the beneficiary of that? It is Krishna. And Krishna is telling this shlok. Sarvalokam Maheshwaram, Mahesh. And for all the all the planets and all the devtas, for all the lake, who is the Maheshwar, who is the owner of, who is the Ishwar for that? It is Krishna. Suhidam Sarvabhutanam. Sarvabhutanam is all living entities. Suhidam is the best friend of everyone. Gyatva Mam. Knowing this, knowing this, me, then what will happen? You will get Shanti Vrichiti. You will achieve peace. You will achieve peace. So let's read the meaning of it. A person in full consciousness of me,
A person in full consciousness of me,
knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities,
knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities,
the supreme lord of all planets and demigods,
the supreme lord of all planets and demigods,
and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities,
and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities,
attains peace from the pangs of material miseries.
attains peace from the pangs of material.
So if everyone can understand this shlok, then there'll be a peace in the world. So this is called peace formula. How you can achieve peace is this formula. So he says, Krishna says, let's divide this shlok into 4 parts. Bhoktaram Yagatapsam, the first one. Krishna says that he is the beneficiary for any yagya, any tap which is done, any austerity that you are performing. Who is the beneficiary of that? It is Krishna. But why is he saying so? So he also, there's a stroke in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which says, Aham sarvasya prabhuvo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhavam samvita. This sloka Krishna says that I am the source of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhu. Aham is I. Sarvasya is everything. Prabhu means everything emanates from me. Whether it's spiritual or it is material, everything comes from me. Matta sarvam matta sarvam bhajatate. So I'm the source of everything. Prabhu is the source of everything, and pravartate is everything emanates from me, and everything comes from me. And iti matva bhajante mam. And knowing this, if someone worships me, that is and the wise who knows this perfectly actually worships me. That is what Krishna says in that. So he is the proprietor of everything, because everything is owned by him. Everything is owned by him. Anything which is spiritual, he's the source of, he says he's the source of everything. Whether it is a material world, whether it's a spiritual world, he's the source of everything. Now, he's the source of everything, it means he's the proprietor of everything. And when everything is his, so he's the enjoyer of it. Yeah? But we don't agree to that. We want to enjoy things, right? And that is why we are here in this material world. Because we don't know that he is the only enjoyer, and all of us are to be enjoyed. He's the only enjoyer, he's the only Purusha, and all of us are supposed to be, we are Prakriti, we are to be enjoyed. But we want to be the master. We want to be the enjoyer. So Krishna created this material world and sent all of us here saying, okay, you go and enjoy in your own space and be the master in your own space. Understood? So who's so when we understand this, that we are nothing, we are just a servant of God, he is actually the benefactor, he is the proprietor. When we have that realization and we work accordingly, then what will happen? We will get peace. Yeah. So now, why did we come here? Not only because we wanted to be the master, and then what we did? We started envying Krishna. We had a desire and we started envying Krishna. That why I also. So what happened? Envy, if you have envy, you can never grow spiritually. Envy is the worst enemy in the spiritual path. If you are envious, you cannot grow spiritually. So when we came here, so who is the, in Bhagavatam, we have a lot of stories about it. And who is the personification of envy? Is Shishupal. Shishupal is, we all know about Shishupal, that story about Shishupal. So Shishupal is the he's a personification of envy. So what had happened? Shishupal was actually born with 3 eyes and 4 arms. Shishupal was born with 3 eyes and 4 arms. And when he was born, his parents were like, they were, what to do of this child? And at that point of time, there was a Akashvani that don't worry, you actually place this child in everyone's, whichever lap this child is taken, and his arms and third eye will fall, he will be the one who will kill him. So what his mother started doing was, and he used to invite everyone and started giving the child in everyone's lap to see who the person is. And he was Krishna's cousin. And when Krishna came and took the child, his both arms actually fell and his eyes fell down. So then mother knew that, okay, it is Krishna who was going to kill him. So she asked Krishna that you will not harm Shishupal ever. He says, okay, I will not harm, but there's a limit. I will excuse his 100 thing. I'll kill. So what happened was, so we all know that during the Rajsui Yagya that was happened, at that point of time, Shishupal started cursing Krishna. Krishna counted and waited till 100, and when he did 101, he actually, his Sudarshan Chakra went, killed Shishupal, and he actually got absorbed in him. So that is so because of our envious, we are actually here. So who is the enjoyer? Krishna is the enjoyer. And Krishna has 3 energies. So which are the 3 energies? Is an external energy, marginal energy, and internal energy. Yeah. So the enjoyer has got 3 energies. The external energy where he has put us. So we are in the material world, which is controlled by the external energy. Who is she? She is represented by Durga Devi. Durga Devi is the Mahamaya. She actually controls the material world and gives you a lot of, always, gives the, you are under Maya. in this material world, you are under desires, right? Is under Maya. And it's very, very difficult to break this Maya and go beyond Durga Devi to the spiritual planet. It's very, very difficult. Then it is a marginal energy. We are the marginal energies of Krishna. We are living entity, are the marginal energy of Krishna. And then she has a, Krishna has an internal energy, which is internal potency, which is Radharani. So these are the three energies of Krishna, right? And so this is about, what do you call it? Then, so Bhoktaram Yagatapsam, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. So Krishna says, and then he started, okay, we are here, right? So, yeah. So then what happened was, so Bhoktaram Yagatapsam, so we know that who is the beneficiary of that? It's always Krishna. So what Krishna did, and who is the example, like we talked about envy, Shishupal example for enviness, then who is the example of total surrender, the way we all should be? The example is the gopis of Vrindavan. What do? So how are they? They are Ananyas. So there's a shlok in 9th chapter, which is 9.22, which Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paripasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogam shemam vihamyaham. He says, one who worships me exclusively with devotion, total devotion, who worships me and always meditating on my transcendental form, what I do, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. I give my complete protection to them. And the example of that is gopis. So to anyone who can do like that. So the highest devotion that can give to Krishna is the gopis. So there's a story about Narad Muni. Narad Muni thought he's the best devotee of Krishna. So he went to Dwarika to meet Krishna, and Krishna was like, he did not come out to meet Narad Muni. Then Narad Muni somehow came and asked, what happened? He says, I have headache. And so he says, okay, then what should I do? How can I help you? He says, I want the dust of the devotee's feet. He says, okay, then why don't you give me the dust of your feet? He says, no, how can I give dust of my feet to you? So he says, okay, then do one thing. Why don't you go to Vrindavan and ask the gopis the same thing, get the dust from gopis' feet? So he went to Vrindavan and he asked the gopis that, Krishna is having headache. Can you please give the dust of your feet? Immediately, all the gopis started giving the dust of their feet. And Narad Muni was extremely surprised. How can this happen? How can you give dust of your feet for Krishna? Aren't you scared? You will get pap. You'll get sin. You'll commit sin. The gopis says, it's fine. We are ready to suffer sin and we are ready to suffer anything if we can make Krishna happy. Right? So that is the way a devotee has to be. Like, it's always, anything you do is for Krishna. Totally selfless. It is totally selfless devotion. That is what is an example of a devotee, right? Then we go for Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. The second thing, he's the Maheshwara. He's the Maheshwar. He's the supreme lord of all the planets and demigods. Again, how there's another shloka as I explained in earlier. He says, Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravardate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava. So I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Yeah. So he says in 10th chapter that he is that, and that is why, so we can say how he says that. Here he's saying in the 5th chapter that Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the Sarvalok. He is the supreme lord of everyone. Suhidam Sarvabhutanam. He is the Suhid. He is the best friend, best, what do you call it? He's the well-wisher of all the living entities. And those who are full conscious of this, what will happen? They will actually get peace. Yeah. So this is the last slok of this chapter. So with this, we'll close the chapter and we'll go to the last part of the thing, which is the Gita Mahatmya from Padma Puran. So in Padma Puran, for each chapters of Gita, there's a story given. The story given, and that story talks about the Gita Mahatmya. What is the importance of this particular chapter? And if you read this chapter every day, what happens? So that is the story that comes from Padma Puran. So let us see the story. So this story is about, and all the stories are normally spoken. So Shivji is speaking to Parvati ji, asks Shivji's answer, and Shivji is telling about a story which Vishnuji has spoken to Lakshmi ji, and that is the story he's narrating here. So he's saying there was a state of Madra, and in that Madra state there was a town called Purukutsapur. Yeah, there was a town called Purukutsapur. In that lived a Brahmin called Pingala. Yeah, he was he was from a very good Brahmin family, and in his childhood he was actually exposed to all the rituals and scriptures of the Brahminical, that is read by them, by Brahmins. And but what happened when he grew up, he had a distaste for that, and he started getting attracted towards instruments and started playing a lot of instruments, and he was quite good in that. And what happened, he was so good in that that the king of Madra actually invited him to his palace, and he liked his music so much that he started saying, why don't you come and stay in the palace itself? Now, although this Pingala was very good in instrument, but he was on the personal side, he was a very sinful person. He used to spend his nights with the different women, and the more he became closer to king, and he had more wealth, he actually started becoming all the more using the wealth in a wrong direction. He started doing intoxication, going around with different women, and started falling down like anything. Yeah. Now, what happened is his wife was Aruna. She was from a very low caste family. And what she did, she also used to enjoy with different men. And what happened is when Pingla came to know about this, that when he came to know about his wife, he was quite upset. And what did the wife thought that because of my husband, I am not able to go around, and she actually decided to kill him. And he chopped his head and killed him. And then this lady also had bad diseases, lost all her beauty, and actually died. Now what happened was, and finally died. Now what happened was, in the next life, Pingla became a vulture, and this lady became a parrot. Now, once they both were in the same place, and the vulture saw the parrot and remembered the past history that she was his wife, and with his beak, he started hurting the parrot and tried to kill the parrot. And the parrot got killed and fell into a skull full of water. And then what happened was, in the meantime, a hunter came and also killed the vulture, and the vulture also fell in the skull full of water. Yeah. And now what happened, because they both are dead, they were again brought to Yamraj. And when the Yamraj saw they think they were they were remembering their sins, how sinful they are. But Yamraj told them, okay, you are now you are absolved from all the sins. You can go to Vaikunt. So they were extremely surprised. We have been so sinful throughout our life. How can this happen, that Yamaraj is asking us to, that we are absolved of all sins? So the vulture asked the Yamraj that how can you tell us this, because we are extremely sinful. We know that we are extremely sinful. So Yamraj narrated a story that on the banks of river Ganga, there used to live a great saint called Vat. And this saint was used to read the chapter 5 of Gita every day. He was meditating, and he was extremely pious, extremely had to complete control over all his senses, and he was always always connected to Dhyan with Krishna. He was always in that. And finally, when he decided to leave his body, and finally he left his body, and his soul went, and his body was in Ganga. And the bird that had fell in the skull was actually it was his skull. And similarly, the vulture also died and had fallen in the, just by the touch of the bones of that particular rishi, they both got absolved from all the moksha, from all the sins. Yeah. And this he used to read the chapter 5 of Gita every day. So you can imagine how pious it is to read our scriptures every day, right? Each and every adhyaya of Gita has great stories like this. So this is the story about the 5th chapter of from Padma Puran. So with this, we'll close today's class. If you have any questions, please write that. And let's chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.